Hey guys, before we get into this video, I've got some exciting news for you EV drivers. We are hosting a meetup to celebrate the launch of IONNA's new EV charging network. IONNA could set the standard for the best EV charging experience, and I can't wait to try it. So, if you're up for a road trip or if you live local to the Raleigh Triangle area, join me on December 19th to stress test IONNA's very first rechargery. The link is in the description to sign up, and I hope to see you all there at the launch of this new network. Now, to the video. Oh, low washer fluid. I'm cheating.
The battle of who dies first.
This truck wants to get by, but there's nothing I can do. I can't go any faster. Get right back on the road this way. This thing's a champ. Let's get it juicing. It's a great car. It just has shit range. Thank you to our sponsors for today's video: Eaton, Amber, InfyPower, and StarCharge. Eaton is a one-stop shop for implementing reliable and innovative EV charging infrastructure at your site. Across all applications, Eaton's EV charging infrastructure hardware and software gives you the scalability, flexibility, and intelligence you need to charge today and scale up tomorrow. Learn more at eaton.com/EVCI. Also, our sponsor, Amber, providing modern protection plans for your Tesla's battery and more, without the hassle of long-term contracts or upfront payments. Check out the link in the description to explore their plan options and use code SPEC5 for a 5% discount on all orders. And InfyPower is the largest EV charger module provider with over 3 million power modules running reliably worldwide. Their latest G2 collection features ultra-high power density and efficiency for EV charging and energy storage integration. InfyPower, innovation for your power. And StarCharge, the largest EV charging manufacturer in the world, and is also a provider of residential and commercial battery storage with microgrid solutions. Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video, and welcome to the Kia EV6 GT and the Hyundai IONIQ 5N. You would expect a track comparison or something really fun, but no, we're going on a 70-mile-per-hour highway range test because we've already done all the track stuff and all the drifting things and fun like that. Today it's all about the range and efficiency of these two Korean spicy things. I'm going to walk through the differences in the car, the differences in pre and post refresh, our testing procedures, and then of course we're going to see how far both of these cars go at 70 miles an hour on honestly a perfect day with perfect conditions. Tijmen, let's start at the EV6 GT. This is a car that we've had for a couple months now, and we really need to run it through all of our testing programs. A huge shout out to our friends at Fort Collins Kia for loaning this to us for 6 months. And I wanted to get all the testing in once we got some miles on it, and we got slammed. We did the I-90 surge. We've had a bunch of test cars, but finally we're getting a 70-mile-per-hour highway range test in on our EV6 GT. And actually, I heard from Hyundai that they had an IONIQ 5N in the Colorado area, and I said, hey, well, we've done all the track tests with it. I think I have multiple videos walking through every single track mode, drifting it, sliding it, driving it quickly, showing the shifting thing. We've done all that, but we haven't done any of the range or efficiency or charging stuff. So I said, send it up to the office. We'll run these cars side by side, and it'll be an interesting time. The reason this is interesting is technically, if you were to go, if you wanted to buy a performance Korean eGMP car, these are the two cars that are on the market today. However, this IONIQ 5N is the post-refresh and the EV6 GT is the pre-refresh. The EV6 GT will be updated very soon with all of the new refresh stuff on it in no time whatsoever. And I'll walk through what some of those things have. But just so everyone knows, I'm not trying to be unfair to Kia. They just have not started shipping the EV6 with the updated 86-ish kilowatt-hour battery pack. So let's talk EV6 GT first. 218 miles of EPA rated range. This is Gen 1 eGMP, electric global modular platform, and they are sister cars, IONIQ 5 and EV6. But here we have the GT, which is sort of a EV6 dialed up to 11. And it's been really nice to have this car because a car that when you review for a week, you really, you don't get a full impression that you do living with it. And this is a car that I just can't get comfortable with. Tijmen, you've been driving it quite a bit. It's so fun when you drive it fast.
Yeah, when it's fast, and if it's on cruise control, it's not bad. But anywhere in between, it's kind of meh.
Yeah, it's not a great daily driver, actually. So I've been honestly overall pretty disappointed with our EV6 GT. It's just not been comfortable. It's not easy to get in and out of. It's not particularly nice to drive around town. It's amazing on a canyon road though. When you start dialing it up, have it in GT mode, you get that limited slip diff in the rear starting to work, the adaptive suspension gets a little bit dialed in, and man, can it really boogie. But honestly, most of the time I'm just driving to the office or the hub and back, and I just want something a little bit cushier. That's just my impression. Surprisingly, the IONIQ 5N that I've been driving for the last few days has solved the need. And I think it comes down to the seats, Tijmen. I'm a little bit bigger, of course.
That makes sense.
The seats, I sit lower in this.
Yeah.
I get a much better seating position. Here, I just cannot get comfortable with this car.
Those are the same seats that are basically in the Focus RS, so I'm used to them.
Right,
That's
you sit too high in this thing. It just doesn't feel
you sit
right.
way too high for it having bucket seats.
Absolutely. And then you get in the IONIQ 5N and I'm like, oh, okay, this is great. So this is the 77.4, I think, kilowatt hour battery pack. The car has 1,500 miles on it, so it's perfectly fresh, but the tires are broken in. It's a perfect day to get everything out of them. And by the way, this is a 70 mile per hour test where we're going from full to where they completely die dead on the side of the road. We are going to be using all of the buffer available, and we'll actually be able to see some of the differences in the battery pack behaviors. So this car, 218 miles of EPA rated range. It's amazing to me how the performance versions of IONIQ 5 and EV6 really just have shit range, no way around it. And honestly, I thought, oh, it must just be weird that they do some weird stuff in the EPA cycle. But Tijmen, we've driven this car now, and it is terrible on range.
Yeah, it's so bad.
I don't know what they were doing.
You can't make it from Denver to Fort Collins and back on a single charge, basically.
Yeah, it's rough. And it still does the clutch disconnect. It's dual permanent magnet motors, but when you're in eco mode or even normal, it'll open up the front clutch, or in adaptive cruise. And so like, it has all the same efficiency stuff that normal EV6 has. It's just, it must be the wheels. So we're on 21-inch wheels for this one. And are they staggered? So they're Goodyear Eagle F1s on these, 255, 40, 21, 255, 40, 21. So this is a square setup, which is how I like it. I'm pretty sure the 5N is square as well. These are 275, 35, 21s up front. And what's on this one? These are Pirelli P0s on this. And yeah, 275 square. So we've got a wider tire by like quite a bit on the IONIQ 5N. And Tijmen, the IONIQ 5N is not just a juiced up IONIQ 5, like the EV6 GT is a juiced up EV6. This has body and white changes, complete steering rack change, like everything has been changed on this car. And it is so special and so cool, has some of the best thermal management of any EV we've tested. EV6 GT as well, by the way. I did a top speed run on the Autobahn in the EV6 GT, charging it 165, 170 miles an hour in that car, back to back to back. Absolutely amazing. Both of these cars represent some great technological advancements, but this is the refresh. So EGMP for 2025, at least for IONIQ 5 and maybe 2026 for Kia, for the EV6, they get a bigger battery pack. So it's now 86 kilowatt hours, higher peak charging, 268, 270 kilowatts, up from its 240. I did notice a little bit weaker top charging in this thing, Tijmen. We did a little race supercharging. That'll come up probably on our new out of spec testing channel, where videos like this will end up over there eventually. And we're gonna kind of free up the reviews channel for reviews, but our testing channel will take over some of these things. But I thought it was cool enough to put on reviews still. And this range is only 221 miles. So technically, even though this has a much bigger battery pack, in the EPA cycles, car for car, you know, if you were to walk into both dealerships, this is what you can buy today. There's a 3-mile range difference between the two. So do you save some money, about $5 grand on the EV6 GT? And honestly, there's a lot of incentives and cash on the hood on that car. So you can get maybe even into $10,000 to $12,000 price delta when it comes to actual purchase price? Or do you spend the money for the 5N and get top performance electric for under 150 to 200 grand?
Spend the money.
Yeah, spend the money. It's without question, just get the 5N. Don't buy the EV6 GT. Spend whatever you have to spend to get this thing, because this car is amazing. So now what we're going to do in this test is run the 70 mile per hour test between the two. So both cars will be set in eco mode. We've set the tire pressures. The cars have had the same overnight parking. The batteries are at the same temperature. We preconditioned both of them. We're charging them both up to 100%. Once they complete, Tijmen and I will take, I guess you won dibs on the 5N. I'll take the EV6. I guess I'm going to die before you would be my guess, just because smaller battery. I think, but you know, this is less efficient, boxier, wider tires. Might be closer than we think. We'll charge up to 100%, drive 70 miles an hour, up into Wyoming, into Nebraska, maybe if we make it that far, drive back here, and then run it dead. I think ultimately both of these cars represent what needs to be in a daily driver. It needs to have enough to do the daily commute, charge at home up to 80% every day, plus or minus, and then it also needs to have enough, I don't know, fun characteristics to do the weekend track day. A lot of people are committed to electric performance. Honestly, not so much in the American market, but in the Korean market, in the German market, in many other places of the world that have adopted electric cars in performance a little bit better than we have in the US. There's a little bit of underground racing scene with electric cars that's kind of coming up, but I'd like to see more of it. And cars like this represent everything that I believe in, both of these cars, which is daily ability and track performance, track capability, and very reasonable pricing, especially from the 5N for everything that you get, all of the engineering that went into this car. Albert Bierman's team really did an amazing job at N, and it shows because that's what the Kia boys did. And then the Hyundai boys just like went up, dial it up, not even to 10, to like 14. So let's let them complete at 100%. We'll set all the same settings in the car, and then we'll drive them till they stop moving side by side to see, of course, which one goes farther, but then of course also to see, you know, the battery pack characteristics. How many kilowatt hours can we pull out of the new battery versus the old battery? And other little interesting things like that. Maybe we'll redo this test one day once the EV6 GT gets its update. But who buys these cars for range? Not many people. We have timed this pretty perfectly. The EV6 GT is at 88%. This is the old battery, 797 volts, let's just say. And this one's at 90%, so it got a 1.5 to 2% lead, and 795 volts, which indicates maybe slightly, very slightly lower voltage on the new battery. I will say it's a video that probably hasn't gone up yet, but I did a supercharging race because the new eGMP stuff, or at least the IONIQ 5N and the IONIQ 5 models, have a quicker onboard booster for 400 volt charging. A lot of you guys will know that the NAX port comes standard on 2025 IONIQ 5s, except for the IONIQ 5N, that will be from 2026, so this car is still CCS, but every other 2025 IONIQ 5 will have NAX as standard. It only charges at about 130 kilowatts peak at a supercharger, you know, a 400 volt supercharger. V4s don't exist yet. And I did a little race between these cars, and they took about the same time to go from 0 to 100. This was a bigger battery, so higher peak, higher sustained charging makes sense that it was very similar. But this got up to 96% and then just stopped. Just like massive BMS sway. It went 96, stopped pulling power from the charger, and then it went 97, 98, 99, 100 complete. And I was like, whoa, never seen so much BMS sway in my life. So maybe this new battery still needs a little bit of tuning. One thing that I can say about the older cars, now we're both at 90%, is yeah, they top charge so well. So we're doing 43 kilowatts at 90% on the old battery. And on the new battery, we're doing 32 kilowatts at 90%, 91% now. So even though this is a little bit bigger capacity, this one charges better, up top at least, which you probably won't ever do on a road trip or anything like that. Although I do see a lot of IONIQ 5 and EV6 owners taking advantage of their EV charging credits and juicing up to 100. But the new car, not as much of a benefit as the old battery. So Tijmen says 18 minutes left to 100, and mine says 14 minutes left to 100.
This is speedy, but we also saw that at the supercharger as well, that charges a little faster at the higher end. This BMS was just really funky.
This one, well, let's see if it goes to 100 this time, or if it just stops at 96 like it did last time, and then it goes 100. It's like, I mean, it's at 100. It just should show it's at 100. Right, exactly. That's why we don't really rely on like stopping at 0. We go from where they click off full to where they click off dead, so that we just ignore BMS confusion. So, yeah, and I don't know what kind of life this car had before. It has a few more miles. This one's at like 8,000 miles, still well within the realm of testing procedures, but I'm pretty sure this was one of the cars that I drove, maybe even this car at Laguna Seca, Tijmen. And so I'm sure it's had a rough life.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, it's on fresh tires, but not super fresh. They're definitely worn in, broken in, but yeah, definitely had some track miles, I'm sure. So the one thing that would be fun, Tijmen, was I totally forgot to grab our car scanner OBDs so we could look at all the data off the cars. Right. But of course, we're going to find out how many miles we go past zero, and we can extrapolate how many kilowatt hours are down there. But of course, we'll be able to look at total usable capacity as well, just by multiplying our efficiency times our distance driving, and we'll get into the region. Now, usually when they say like 77 kilowatt hours usable or 86 kilowatt hours usable, it's usually, or when they quote that, it's usually the usable capacity. Hyundai doesn't really quote, or Kia, gross versus usable, but their numbers are pretty much what you can get out of them. And I have to say, we haven't done any like hardcore charging tests on this thing yet, but the top charging performance you would think would have gotten better, but it actually got worse. Similar with the Taycan refresh. Gen 1 Taycans would charge better up top than Gen 2 Taycans. So it's like, yeah, maybe some trade-offs in cell chemistry, a little bit less cobalt makes it charge a little bit worse up top. I don't know, just guessing, spitballing here. But anyway, man, I just love the IONIQ 5N. I really shouldn't say I don't like the EV6 GT. I just, for $5,000 difference or plus or minus, like just go IONIQ 5N. If you get a smoking deal on one of these things, then yeah, go for it. It's still a cool car. And man, absolutely does drive great when you drive fast. I just can't get on with the seating position or anything like that. We're at 96% on this one, still charging, 95% on the 5N, getting very close to leaving at 100. I have just completed charging in the EV6 and you are at 97%. No weird BMS confusion here. But we've got actually two of these, Tijmen.
Oh, good.
So we can do the car scanner stuff. So I'm going to hand that to you. And the biggest thing that we're going to be looking for when we get low is the SOC BMS tag. And that will tell us how many percent we have before it actually stops moving. Yeah, because they show 0 and then there's usually like 5% buffer below or something, at least on the old car. But it'll be really interesting to compare when yours shows 0, what percent BMS it thinks, versus the 77 kilowatt hour pack. So that's what I'm curious about, and also to look at remaining energy value. So I'll let you get that all hooked up. I've turned off all loads in the EV6, so you've got a couple minutes to get that all set up. So Tijmen, interesting. We've pulled up car scanner on both, and yours definitely shows more energy available, but only by about 3.5 kilowatt hours or so. Or maybe even less, maybe about 3 kilowatt hours. And also interestingly, SOC BMS, which is like the battery pack actual state of charge, if I can zoom in there, mine shows 97, yours shows 95. So maybe a little bit more conservative in the IONIQ 5 than the EV6, but it just clicked off at 100%. You're at 791 volts. Here, I'll let you film my screen in a minute. We can compare the results. All right, so similar voltage here. You can see this is for the Kia on my phone now, 97%, 73.7. So actually it's under 3 kilowatt hours difference. And I'm a little bit higher voltage, but about the same. Anyway, no time for delay. Let's unplug and hit the road. They completed within like a minute and a half of each other.
Right.
Okay, now it's time to set all the settings the same way. So, Tijmen, I say, oh, low washer fluid. I'm cheating.
Oh no, the weight difference.
the weight difference. All right, we're going to go eco mode in this one, and all of them. So, eco, climate on auto. Yeah, that's right. We got to do driver only, and at 70. Yep. I'm also going to close my glass roof because you don't have one of those. And I'm going to reset my synths after recharging menu. Boom. Reset. Into drive. I'm 71 miles an hour is 70. You should check yours. All right, we'll do. See ya. Let's do it. Reset.
Since last reset, I have reset, and we are a go.
I'm 71 miles an hour is 70. You should check yours.
All right, we'll do. See ya.
See ya.
All right, we are off.
So one thing that I'm doing that won't really make a difference, but I'll let Tijmen know, is we're not going to run iPedal here because we don't want the front motor to connect really at all during the drive. We just want it to stay disconnected. So I think we have the car in the most efficient settings. Yes, driver only, which shuts off the rest of the climate control, set to 70. I can come over here. You can see we're running just rear drive in both cars. A very similar motor in both cars. I'm pretty sure the 5N may have a juicier motor than this. But either way, they kind of sound the same. The inverters make this cool little high-pitched whine almost when you really get into the throttle. It sounds amazing. And of course, the 5N has all the cool shifting stuff that the EV6 GT, I believe, will get with the refresh. The kind of fake manual shifting. A lot of people think it's silly. I thought it was silly, but like I've been using it a lot in the IONIQ 5N, and it's just funny. It's like a video game. So consider me a convert, even though it's probably for completely different reasons than most people like it. When I drive fast, I turn all that stuff off. But if I'm just sitting in traffic or driving around town in the IONIQ 5, I do like the shifting thing. So mine's indicating just dipped from 207 to 206 miles. I'm going to call Tijmen and just remind him about level 3 regen, or really, it doesn't even matter, but definitely not level 0, because if you go to level 0 regen, then it doesn't even do brake blended regen. So you want at least level 1, 2, or 3 on, and then we'll be good to go.
So I have the mode in Eco, Auto Climate, and it says 213 miles of range at 100%. And then I can click here, which is so dumb. I can't see my percentage arrival. It just says 4 miles. So I have to click on this, and then it shows that I'm going to get there with 96%. And Kyle's calling me. And we are merging onto the highway and going to set the cruise at 70 and then check the speedometer or my GPS speed right away to see if I have to increase it or decrease it. I most likely have to decrease it. And an EV6 GT was just behind us as well, a black one, but I'm just going to leave it on this screen so that I know my arrival percentage.
And here we go, merging onto the highway. And I always love the short range tests because they just don't take that long. And I think that's great. But of course, the one thing to factor in with both of these cars is it's not always about the range. The more important test, in my opinion, is actually our 10% challenge, where we factor in the extreme charging performance plus the pretty poor range that I'm expecting to see here to get a overall road trip score of the vehicle. And to me, that's what I care about for sure. So I'm looking forward to running the 10% challenge right after this test today. So let's get up to 70 miles an hour. In this car, again, it's 71 indicated. So I'm going to set that. Boom. I've got my head-up display right there. We do need to kind of get up to 70. So let's do it. It's always a little bit busy right when we get on the highway, and then it'll smooth out as we make our way into Wyoming and into Nebraska, if these cars can even go that far. But let's see what happens. We're just cruising. Tijmen's right behind me in the 5N. All is good. I should also mention that yesterday it was literally snowing, and today it's 70 degrees, sunny, and no wind. How does that work? But glad we're getting this test in on a great day. Dang, the sun was shining so bright I had to go sweatshirtless. What the heck? The driver only at 70 it's fine, but maybe not with a sweatshirt. Also, shout out, Don't Trust the BMS, our new shirt that you can find at shop.outofspecstudios.com. And this is a really good shirt, especially for the IONIQ 5N, which has proven to be a little bit wonky from a BMS perspective, at least on this one. So don't trust the BMS. You can get the shirt at shop.outofspecstudios.com. Too many ads, I get it. We are approaching the border for Wyoming, and you may notice I'm driving 70 instead of 71. I did double check. It's like 70.5 is the ultimate speed. And anyway, we are crossing into Wyoming. And I always say if we cross into Wyoming with more than 90% battery, then it's going to be a long day. But no, we're at 88 right now. So it shouldn't be that long of a day. Should be a pretty easy day, actually, which I'm looking forward to because I don't want to spend all day driving. It's a beautiful Sunday. I'd rather go, well, I guess I got to do 10% charging, 10% challenge and charging on these. So my day's clogged up anyway. But I was going to say, I'd love to go hang out, nice weather, go for a drive. Not just sitting on the highway, but is what it is. All good. We're getting the video in for you guys, and I am certainly not complaining. It is great that this is what we're able to do, and we have great conditions for this range test.
As we're crossing into Wyoming, Kyle's still chilling right in front of me, and we have done 21 miles, and we've used 10%. And I got to keep my hands on the wheel. And we're doing 2.2 mile per kilowatt hour. Nothing too crazy going on here.
Welcome to the Kia EV6 and welcome to the 75% state of charge check-in. Everything is going well. The only thing I will say is heading this way, heading east on I-80, we have a pretty strong tailwind that we're going to get counteracted with headwind on the way back. Pretty strong. Excuse me, maybe 10 miles an hour or so. Anyway, sorry, less than that, maybe 5 to 10. Should be on the lower side. We've done 59.6 miles, 3 miles per kilowatt hour. I expect that to deteriorate as we go the other way, which also means we should turn around a bit early for 2 reasons. I'm fairly certain Kia vehicles have nonlinear discharge curves. That's how we almost ran out in the EV9 range test. So we should turn around with the headwind, with everything, maybe around 60 to 62%. It seems early, but I think it will give us enough buffer to make it back to our start location pretty low. And yeah, we just need to plan for worst efficiency going the other way. That's why we run a loop style test. So yeah, we'll feel it out. We'll see what's right. Tijmen's behind me. He's just behind that truck. We got stuck in a little traffic, but like on the on-ramp getting onto I-80. So we're one truck separated, but we're still rolling together and all is good.
And about 6-7 minutes after Kyle hit 75%, I just hit 75%. And here are the stats. We have done 66.8 miles. So I think we are about 6 miles ahead of Kyle state of charge wise, and he's doing 3 miles per kilowatt hour, and I'm doing 2.9. So it's looking good for the end. We will see at the end. Wow, no pun intended or rhyme intended.
Well, there's a pretty big construction zone coming up, and we have this big wind pushing us this way. I'm at 68%, which is still probably too early to turn around, but I think rather than just dealing with all of that, we're just going to flip around here and then loop closer back to the charging station. So let's exit here. The car does do some pretty good automatic lane changes, but it does require you to keep your hands on the wheel. So there we go. Boom. First time coming off, 71 indicated. And Tijmen's right back there. I can't quite totally see him, but he's right behind me. And we are going 68%, 3.1 miles per kilowatt hour. I imagine that will go down as we start getting some of the headwind on the way back. Time will tell, though. Gentle accelerations on the loop, as always. And what I'm going to do is actually let Tijmen jump in front. So we always swap positions every loop. And that'll be that. Should be good.
And we are turning around. Kyle's ahead of me, and we've done 80 miles, and I'm at 70% state of charge, and 3 miles per kilowatt hour now. And it says that in 80 miles, 79 miles, we'll get back at 22%. So we're going to use roughly 50% on the way back, which is quite crazy.
There we go, a little swaparoo, and we will be getting back onto the highway. Man, the IONIQ 5N looks so cool, doesn't it? What an awesome looking spicy meatball. We're only 81 miles into the test so far, but honestly, with these cars, maybe that's not not that bad. So using every bit of the runway on ramp, and we'll use that gentle acceleration to get back up to speed, up to 70 miles per hour indicated. So I'm just going to hit resume, and then I will set the distance to the farthest away possible, and then we will get no drafting effect off of the IONIQ 5. Oh yeah, I can already feel the headwind pushing us at the moment. I can hear it. So it'll be interesting to see what this does for efficiency. But of course we don't want to draft, so letting him pull away a little bit, and then we'll get right up to speed. Man, the adaptive cruise really leaves a ton of distance here, doesn't it? That's awesome. And 71 indicated, 3, there we go, set, ready to rock and roll.
And as we're turning around, swap spots with Kyle, who's back there, easier to see right there. And we're just gonna set it at 70 miles per hour and see how it does. I do think we have a little bit more of a headwind now. So that also makes sense why we would get back with 50% less.
50% state of charge, check in. We're holding up, everyone. This truck wants to get by, but there's nothing I can do. I can't go any faster. 110 miles so far, which would indicate 220 miles. And yeah, sorry to this dude in the truck, but there's nothing I can do. I'm doing the world's slowest pass of the Sprinter. So anyway, yep, 50%, 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour, 110 miles traveled so far.
And I just hit 50% and 100 miles left of range. Excuse me. Averaging 2.7, but on this graph you can see, oh, we're actually doing 2.7. It's been really in between 2 and 2.7. We've done 115 miles, and I have no idea what percent Kyle's at, but he's right there. We might actually be able to get over 200 miles out of this thing, which would be pretty good. I would hope that's the least it can do. But we're about to head back onto I-25, and then I'm gonna do, I think, 2 more loops than Kyle. We'll really see how this goes. Just got onto I-25, and I'm at 41%. We've done 132 miles, 2.6 mile per kilowatt hour, so it's going down, not too good, but we got 78 miles left until, quote unquote, it's dead and doesn't have any range left. So I gotta let these cars pass and then go back to 70 miles an hour and pass this truck up here. We are entering back into Colorado, and not much has changed. 2.6 mile per kilowatt hour and 37%.
We have made it all the way back down to basically our turnaround point. This is the frontage road where we're going to turn around, but I still have 28%. We knew this, so we're going to exit here, and then we are going to head back the other way. I don't know what time it's doing. We got to turn around. Tijmen. There we go. He just recognized. That was amazing. Okay, so maybe we didn't get a full regen, nice smooth regen on that side, but actually that thing will regen like over 200 and something kilowatts. Can't remember exactly. 260? Yeah. Or is it 400 kilowatt regen? I don't know. I'm all confused. Too many cars, trying to test them all before the end of the week, but man, that thing just looks good, does it not? Awesome. All right, back we go.
And we are turning around. I'm at 31% state of charge, and just gonna loop around, go back up north, and go down as far as I can percentage wise. Make sure this guy is going off the exit. He is. Whoa. Yeah. So it still says I have 60 miles left, so about an hour. Not terrible, but probably have a bit of a buffer as well at the bottom. And look at that thing. Hell yeah, brother. That's sick. Back to the freeway we go.
As we merge onto the highway, I'm just going to go past Tijmen here. That way, not that we're drafting off each other, but just to keep it the same, where one gets in front, and yeah, we'll just swap positions every time. That way, no risk of drafting. Man, that thing looks great.
The battle of who dies first. I think it's definitely going to be the EV6.
It is time for our 25% check-in, and there we are, 25%, 162 miles only. Holy smokes. I've been doing some range tests that at 50%, we've gone farther than 162 miles. Oh my goodness, 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour. But of course, we can go well below zero in this car, which is why we will use the frontage road. So, all is good here in the EV6.
I am at 25%, 2.6 mile per kilowatt hour, and we've done 166 miles so far. And it says I have 50 miles left, and I am pacing a semi right now. We are doing the same thing, speed, so this doesn't seem very nice, but got to stick to the correct speed. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna get 200 miles out of it, and it looks like math-wise about EPA. So we will see.
In the EV6, things are going well, down to 18%. Nice wide open roads. And one super annoying thing about the Kia navigation system is this. I don't know what state of charge I'm going to get to the frontage road with. I have to click this button, and then it will tell me 3%. Why does it not show me 3% there? If anyone knows a way to pull up your arrival SOC rather than having to hit this every time, that would be amazing. I don't know. The car has the information. That's the most important thing while navigating. Every EV driver knows this, and I don't know how to keep it on the screen all the time. Pretty crazy. Anyway, we'll probably go a couple exits past and then get there at 0. We are going to turn around at exit 7. We're at 13%, and it says unknown arrival percentage. It was 1% if I went to the last exit. It's quite a ways up here, but I can always duck out at Buckeye Road, which is like 6 miles towards this way on the frontage road, so should be okay. Either way, I think Alyssa should be on her way and Ryan should be on his way in the Lucid and the Cybertruck to rescue both of us off the side of the road.
I've hit 15% state of charge. A thing showed up on this little screen, but same as this, low EV battery warning. And it asks to find charging stations. Nope. We're gonna run this thing dead, brother.
You join us now at the infamous exit 7, and on this broken surface, the EV6 is making some rattling noises from the back. I know it's like kind of a common thing for these to rattle, but there's something going on back there. Anyway, perfect turnaround point because we don't actually have to stop. We can just, because it's a double diverging diamond situation. Anyway, it's a pretty cool type of intersection, but it means we can just kind of coast on up and boogie on through. Love it. How sick is this? Then we can keep our momentum going. Tijmen's right there behind me, by the way. We can keep our momentum going and just get right back on the road this way. No need to swap cars. We're so far away anyway. It's totally fine. We'll just cruise, and this is where we should, 25 miles at 12%. Yeah, this should bring us down to 0% properly now. So let's hit resume, get back up to 70, and that'll be that.
So the car says it's got 25 miles of range left. On the screen here, if you can, God, man, the sun. On the screen, it says 24.5 miles left. And then it says unknown for percent, where it used to show a percentage. I don't really like that much. I'd rather it have like an actual percentage to show like -2, like what Tesla does. And so that you actually know and can maintain speed. Or what Tesla does, it says like reduced to below 70 miles an hour to reach destination. It would be cool to see in something like this as well. So we are at 10%, 17 miles of range. We've done 192 miles at 2.6 average mile per kilowatt hour.
We have reached 5% state of charge, and Tijmen's at, I want to say 10% state of charge in the IONIQ 5. Really not much of a difference there, in my opinion. I'm going to get off on the frontage road, I think one exit before him, and he'll stay on the highway while we'll probably run side by side. I'll just be on the frontage road in case this thing dies. Mine does say about 9% BMS remaining, which is like 9% usable. Oh, why are we dropping speed there? Oh, because we got a caravan in front of us. Anyway, that is the plan. We're going to basically exit as soon as this car passes. Boop, pop in the left lane, get back to 70, rock and roll. And yeah, we'll just, as we say on the I-90 Surge, feather it in.
This just showed up. Charge milli power limited, so it's a 7%, same warning here. And I mean, we're still holding 70, so that's good.
The Kia managed 200 miles, woohoo, with 3% remaining, but let's ignore that. It did 200 miles. Good job, EV6.
Just hit 5%, 10 miles range remaining. We've done 203 miles at 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour average. And if we can do 20 total more, we've beat EPA, which is 221.
We have reached 1% state of charge in the Kia at 206 miles. Our SOC BMS, which would be like usable remaining, is at 6.5%. So we have roughly a 5% of our total energy of a buffer that we're going to use up. Still, I still think you never rely on it. Don't trust the BMS. That's why we got the freaking shirt. We're going to take the frontage road because we can run 70 miles an hour on the frontage road. It's right next to the highway. No reason to, to risk it by dying on the highway. I'd much rather die on a deserted road And worst case, well, okay, we just sit on the frontage road. No big deal. So that's the plan. We are at 1%, and by the time we exit, maybe we'll dip down to 0. We'll see. Now, as soon as it dips to 0, I think cruise control will just shut off completely, and it will just get full regen. I'm just covering the throttle just in case when it happens, but I'm fairly certain they don't do cruise below 0%. Then we're down to manual throttle application. Let's see. 0%. Oh, smart cruise canceled. There we go. And now I'm hard on the throttle to get us back up to speed. Power limited, turtle mode, all the stuff. So got to maintain 70 miles an hour. That's the end of our highway stint. So we hit 0% at 208 miles. Now we're going to see how far we can go below, but I need to be really careful and monitor our speed. So let's just lock in that cruising pedal position and hold it right there at 71. Okay, good stuff. So I'm going to be dialed in. We'll see how far we can go beyond 0 now. So exiting here at 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour. Tijmen's probably going to continue up on the highway, but that is the end of us kind of running side by side for now. But conditions should stay pretty much the same. Beautiful views of the mountains for sure. And I'm fairly certain the Cybertruck is either here or just on its way over here. Good stuff. It says low EV battery warning. Nothing to worry about. We know these EGMP cars, at least with these battery packs, pretty well, with their behavior being solidly always having a buffer below 0. So I'm curious to see how far we'll be able to go. And there's the Cybertruck right down there. Waiting to charge us up. Very nice. And here we go on the frontage road.
So we are turning around. I am at 4%. Or 3% now, so I'm going to go on the highway once more, and then go on the frontage roads that way, and then should be good, because I kind of have it marked up a little bit. Kyle's already on the frontage road, and I'm just going to take the next exit onto the frontage road, and then it should put me at 0%. Yeah, see, it's right at unknown again. So I did feel the power limitation pretty badly, but now this should be ending pretty soon. I just hope I don't die on the side of the highway, which it shouldn't, but who knows? It could just randomly die. I don't think Kyle has tested a couple of these, and it's been pretty good about going pretty good buffer past 0.
After hitting 0%, it's really no problem getting up to highway speed, just using gentle accelerations. I matched the on-ramp perfectly, and now we're just cruising alongside the highway. All is good, and no issues whatsoever. Man, I can't figure out for the life of me why they have such a buffer. Do you guys like the idea of a buffer? Or do you like the German idea, which is 0 is 0? Do you want a buffer? Do you not? I think for me, it's comforting to not have a buffer, because I think if I owned one of these as my personal car, I would rely on it a lot. And then you're into unknown territory. Will it run out? When will it run out? Versus just having all the information as to exactly when it will die right there. I could see both sides of the argument. Maybe you put in a few hundred watt hours. I don't know. Let me know what you think. And here is Ryan waiting with the Lucid. So I'll say thanks and hello, and I just dusted him, and now he's pulling in behind me actually. So perfect timing. That was great. I slowed down a little bit just not to dust him, but easy to get right back up to 70 miles an hour. Boom, just like that.
And I've hit 1% at 210 miles. With 2 miles to go, it says I have 10 miles on this road, but that's accounting us to go back on the highway, even though the frontage road is right there, so I can just hop on the exit and then head onto the frontage road, and then I'll be good. So far, so good. Kyle and Ryan are up there with, Ryan's with the Lucid, Kyle's in the EV6 GT, and then at the exit back there that I just turned around was Alyssa with the Cybertruck. So I just entered turtle mode and I'm at 0%, so I gotta take a quick photo. So the BMS state of charge still thinks it's at 5%. And I was kicked off of cruise control, and now it says power limited. So I'm just gonna do my best to keep it at 70 and then take this next exit, which I think is in 1 mile.
Boom, and right there at, let's just call it 214 miles, you can see I'm wide open throttle and we are dipping below 70 miles an hour. So actually not a huge buffer as I was expecting, but yep, that is our range number, 214 miles at 70 miles an hour. Now I am completely wide open throttle, only getting 17 kilowatts out of the battery pack or so, and it is dipping quickly. So there we go. That's the end of the 70 test. Now we see how far we can go at 0. I'm going to keep my foot completely floored until it stops moving. Our SOC BMS calculation is showing 0.5. So, man, I actually thought these had a little bit more of a buffer. I mean, it definitely went beyond 0 and we were pushing it, but yep, we are coming off speed and time is actually about to pass us. But yeah, there's almost nothing left in this thing whatsoever. Yeah, 9 kilowatt power output. Oh no. So this is as fast as we can go right now, 50 miles an hour. And we have an 8 kilowatt power output. I'm actually still floored and we're losing speed coming up to the intersection. We'll see if I'm able to accelerate from the stop sign or not, but a little bit of regen may not hurt it. Let's see what the heck happens. Coming off cruise control there, I noticed iPedal may have been on. Oh well, shouldn't affect it too much. It was just a couple miles. U-turn and full throttle. Oh my gosh, it barely is accelerating. But I want to see what happens when we run this thing all the way out. Ryan's right behind me with the Lucid to grab me. And Tijmen's actually gonna... Tijmen's coming on the frontage road, but he's gonna go for a pass. So I will let him go by as it is safe to do so. There he goes. So the IONIQ's still running, but he's got to be at 0%. We can't go beyond 33 miles an hour right now. 5 kilowatt power output. 4, 5. Whoa, it gained 1. Nice. How far can we go at 0? Let's find out.
There's Kyle and Ryan. I'm at 0%. And going on to the frontage road, and I have to pay. There goes 1 U-turn. There goes 2 U-turn. Wow. Oh, I think Kyle just died. Oh, he is power limited. And I have to pass them. So we're just gonna not look at this right here. See ya. And yeah, we are going up to 70 miles an hour.
So everything is showing 000 on our car scanner app. Again, climate control still on. It's still doing lane centering, which is nice. And I'm completely floored at the moment. I think this is the hill we might die on. But yeah, interesting that it's giving us just a tiny bit of push to keep the speed up, which is, I think, good from a safety perspective, just to get you off the road. And our 12-volt state of charge is at 86%. That is great information to have. Okay, can we make it up the hill in the Kia? I don't know. We're losing speed quickly. I'm completely floored. Come on, Kia, make the hill, make the hill. Yes. 5 kilowatt power output. The car's still giving power. No way. Oh, so right there, I got this little car with the key sign on, and then I felt it completely give up. 000, absolutely no power output. So now basically we are just coasting. It actually won't even regen. It's like the car just shut off completely. So the battery contactors have opened at this point. So what we're going to do is find a little safe place to pull over, which is really anywhere around here. We are very lucky to use this road and have it. So I was thinking maybe this would be a driveway. Yeah, we could. We could totally, well, now it's too late. Anyway, we've got plenty of room, plenty of space. I'll just put us all the way over here, and this is where we will die. Very, very good. Love it. Whoa, that was unpleasant. As soon as I got to low speed, it put the parking pawl in and just locked the rear wheels and then grabbed the parking brake. It should have done the electronic parking brake first. Anyway, climate off. Final number there, 216.9, but 214 where it couldn't maintain 70 anymore. So let's get this thing charging. I'm going to shut it off to save 12 volt and everything. And that is a range test in the EV6. Awesome to see it. That was great. A big thank you to Ryan for grabbing me, and then Alyssa and Lexi are gonna grab Tijmen. So there we go, nice. I'll hit start on the range exchange. We've got plenty of charge in the Lucid, I think. Oh yeah, 89%. Start sharing. Great. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So let's see how this goes. Lucid says everything's happy. What does the Kia say? Is it charging? Don't know. Yes, charging. Freaking love it. And it takes full power right from the rip. Freaking awesome. So we'll charge it up to, I don't know, 1 or 2%, and then bring it down to the DC charger where we started, right over there.
We are losing speed. I cannot maintain 70 miles an hour anymore, so that's 118 miles at, or 218 miles at 70 miles an hour. So that's pretty good. Under EPA for 70 miles an hour, but I still have some power to move, so let's see how far we can get. All right, the car is dead, so let's pull this on up out of the road up to this spot. 219 miles, so under EPA completely. I have no more power left in the car. All right, it's completely dead. So there we go. It is 220. The last couple miles were, like the last 2 miles were very, very slow. So don't even count them. 218, or what was it, 216? No, 218 at 70 miles an hour.
I am still at 0% state of charge, but my SoC BMS has come up to 3.5%. We've just unplugged, and I think I can make it to the charger. My pack voltage has come up almost 100 volts, and we haven't even hit 1% yet. So, Ryan, I'm going to go really slow, but I'll see you over at the charging station. Starts up and moves away even at 0%. General Motors, take note. That's how you do it. Just put it a little bit in and let the car move. I'm going to be super gentle, neutral cruising when possible, 30, 40 miles an hour max, something like that. And then we'll just bring it a couple miles down to the charging station. We are coasting in on neutral where Tijmen died, right over here. And just using that little bit of a downhill advantage to coast on in. So it looks like he found a really safe, great place to run out of juice. That is awesome. Love to see it. And we're gonna go bye. And we have easily made it back to the Maverick charging station where this all started. Easy peasy. And it just keeps dinging at me, power limited. But hey, this thing's a champ. Let's get it juicing. Ryan is just about to head out to do some 10% challenge stuff with this. And I can see Tijmen and the Cybertruck are pulling in perfectly fine. Here comes the man himself. Range test king right here. Yeah, it beat this one with a way bigger battery. I don't know, something doesn't seem right there with the battery capacities. Maybe that car's just had a really rough life and has had rapid degradation. I don't know. But anyway, see you, Ryan. You at 0? Oh yeah.
Rivian though, so he's the one.
Yeah, 1% from where you were.
Left at 2. But.
Yeah, dang it. But hey, I love it. That's the out of spec way. Unplug at 0.
Yep.
Well, it's time to end the video. And first of all, can I just be the first one to complain about the efficiency of these cars? Model 3 performance is on, maybe not the performance level of this car, but certainly EV6 GT, and is only like a smidge less efficient than the other cars.
Yeah, this is terrible.
Yeah.
People complain about my car. And they want to buy this.
So the car's just amazing on track. It has the best thermal management. It's so much fun. You even mentioned it was comfortable on the highway.
Yeah.
But like the range, dude.
Yeah, I don't think it's meant for that specifically. So in that sense, it's fine. But like other places, you have to drive 100 miles to a track.
So how far'd you go?
218 at 70, and then, or 219, and then an extra mile at like 50-ish, and then it just like at 19.5 it just fell on its face.
It just, nothing happened.
Yeah, I was just going downhill.
Yeah.
I could maintain speed, turned around, went uphill, could only do 2 miles an hour.
Okay. So the EV6 GT, I honestly, so what's interesting is the EPA is 3 miles difference, but you should have on paper 9 more kilowatt hours roughly than the EV6. Now the EV6 is a bit fresher. This car's probably lived a rougher life, but you know, it couldn't be more than a kilowatt hour or two of degradation. And it's still, you know, within our allowable testing range. I mean, unless the car really had the shit kicked out of it before it came to us. I mean, it just seems like you didn't
feel like that when driving it. Feels factory new.
Yeah, no rattles or anything. I agree. And even the cars that I drove at Laguna, this is why I should take a picture of every VIN that I drive, but those started to feel a little bit creaky.
Super solid. Any lane change or when we were driving it not on the highway, spirited, it feels fine. Nothing's weird, loose, no clunks.
It's a great car. It just has shit range.
Yep.
And same with EV6. I would buy this over EV6. Now I know
I got used to the shifting and it's so nice.
The manual shifting thing. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It is kind of cool. It's just such a way cooler car than the EV6 GT. And it's like, so EV6 GT will get the shifting, by the way, in the refresh.
But it's so ugly compared to this, so just buy this.
Yeah, so many people commented that they like the way the EV6 looks better, but they're just blind.
If you're getting this in green, yes, get an EV6 GT. But other than that, just get this.
Yeah, this is the way to go. So anyway, both cars shit range. I don't know why we didn't get the capacity we were expecting out of this one, but you know, they're 3 mile EPA range difference, and there was 4 miles at the 70 mile per hour difference, so really not a big deal there. Anyway, 10% challenges, charging tests, everything more to come on Out of Spec Testing, our new channel dedicated to EV testing, like the stuff that you see here. Subscribe to it. I'll leave it pinned. And with that said, it's time to get some pasta for dinner. Woohoo! See you guys.